Hello everybody and welcome to a little video where I'm just going to be talking about Nightmare Mode TFB and Writhing Horror and some other stuff in this little video, I guess. But here's the thing. I want to start off by saying that the differences in Nightmare TFB compared to the hard mode for this fight. So the Writhing Horror on hard mode and easy, or story mode, I guess, has a certain path it takes when it switches positions. In Nightmare Mode, that's no longer there. It's a random thing. Which makes it way easier for tanks that can charge because they can get to it quicker, which means it's not spitting on the group, which means it's, you're not taking a ton of damage, and it does do a lot of damage. So assassins and shadows are kind of boned on this fight. Sorry, if you have two assassins or shadows, it is going to be very difficult for you to defeat this fight. In fact, we're switching our assassin to Well, I can't talk today. We're switching him to a juggernaut, so that's how bad it's been. The other thing is, that's different in this fight, is the debuff comes way quicker, so there's a lot of those little puddles that are going to be sitting around, and that's really the only difference in this fight other than more HP and damage that the boss does. But I did want to talk about how difficult this fight is, and how much I like that. We've wiped on this boss several times at 1%. In the course of the time that we were working on her. And it's one of those things, I love it. I love it. I love that kind of difficulty. But so many people in the forums, which, please, never read the forums. It's a cesspool of hatred and darkness, and your worst despair that you can ever think of is on the forums. But with people on the forums are complaining that this fight, and especially the next fight, is way too hard. It was overtuned is the word they keep throwing out. But in reality, it really isn't. I mean, the next fight, yeah, a little bit. Pretty much nobody's killed it, and it's sitting at... It's about 40% HP, 30% HP when it starts to enrage, and it just rapes your face. So, yeah, that could be possibly a bit different, but I think people just need to get creative in the ways that they're fighting it, and then they could probably figure something out. Maybe that's possible on that fight. Maybe it isn't, I haven't looked at all the angles on it, but, it might be. So, people are complaining that's overtuned. People are complaining that this one's overtuned, but this one's easily beatable. You just gotta have enough DPS. And our DPS pull 2,500 to 3,000 DPS at any given time. Especially on fights like this where there's AoE, but AoE doesn't count. So here's the thing that I wanted to talk about specifically is Nightmare modes should be a nightmare, am I right? Like, it should be difficult. It should be the next difficulty up. It shouldn't be the next tier of gear. Like, you shouldn't think of Nightmare modes as, oh, new raid content, because it's not. It's the same raid content you were doing before, just slightly harder. Nightmare modes also aren't for everybody, at least in my opinion. I believe BioWare believes that way too, but I'm not sure. So, if you're doing Nightmare TFB, you should be in there because you're a good player and you have the gear for it, and you've been able to clear hard mode with, I guess, some ease, because hard mode isn't that difficult, to be honest, but Nightmare is, right? So you should be in Nightmare mode because you deserve to be there. Now, many people believe that you should be able to see all the raid content, no matter where you are at in skill. And I, like I said, I don't agree with that, because there's a story mode. That's what story mode is for. If you can get past story mode, get into hard mode, awesome. If you can get past hard mode, get into nightmare mode, awesome. But when we come into nightmare mode, we expect fights that are this hard. Just simply put, we expect fights that where we come in, we get to like 1% and wipe. Stuff like that, because that, to us, that is fun. And the reason why is because during those fights, during the point where you're trying to just come up with little ways to defeat the fight, just little things that you could possibly do, positioning, what can you do where you're standing? Could you possibly place a debuff that's going to be coming out quicker, more in the center, and then, just kind of have positions for people to stand? What can you do for tanks? How can we take less damage? How can healers, pump out the heals? Are people always in range of the heals? What can you do? It's just little things like that, that when you look at it, and you're in the middle of the fight, those little things are going to make you a better player. And that's when we, as our raid group, are at our best. And we like that feeling, because when we're doing that, when we're thinking of all the little things during the fight, it's what makes us the best. That's what makes us better players. And we like that. We like that feeling, and we like to progress like that. And I'm sure everybody does. So this is my feedback to BioWare. please don't nerf this fight. You can nerf the next fight because it's apparently unbeatable. You know, whatever. I don't care about that. I was going to work on it anyways and just roll through it and try to come up with a way to fight it, because that's what we do. I don't care about nerfing it. I want to beat it the way it is. And I'm sure it is possible to some degree. But yeah, don't nerf the fights, please. Keep them difficult. And the reason why is because it's what makes us better players, and we like that. And everybody should like that. So please don't complain about it being too difficult. But I think that's my rant done for now. And on that note, we shall see you guys next time.